Hello, kia ora, g'day. I'm Philip Duncan from Weather Watch TV on YouTube with your Australia-only forecast through until Sunday. And obviously I'm still off screen for this week, but we've got the trusty green pointer in hand to guide you and to try and make sense of the weather map. So we kick off with the most dominant feature on the map, the high pressure zone here in the southeast, smack bang over the top of Victoria. Now, as this high pressure system very slowly moves towards New Zealand this week, it's going to do a couple of things. It's going to encourage some showers coming in behind it and also some very heavy rain along the eastern side of New South Wales on the coastal side, right up and towards Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast. We'll talk about that in a second. Windy weather here also between Port Macquarie and Grafton, a southeasterly flow that fans right out across the rest of Australia, going all the way up to the top end, the Kimberley, the Pilbara, all getting that easterly flow where it's much drier and a lot warmer. It's cooler though, Perth southwards as the next high pressure system comes on in, and that coupled with some low pressure south of Australia is fueling a cooler and showery southwest flow that's coming in. Cold front here, very weak one coming through. The other feature on the map, well south of Australia down towards Antarctica, this low pressure zone near Antarctica currently has wind speeds at the time when we recorded this of 130 kilometers an hour and gusting even higher. So we're seeing a lot of low pressure, some very big storms south of Australia. That's good for breaking up these high pressure zones. That's what we need if we need some rain. And many of you do along the southern states. Rain is desperately needed. So let's try and make sense of this. It's quite a busy map. A big thank you to Incitec Pivot Fertilizers, because without IPF, we wouldn't be able to bring you these rainfall maps as frequently as we are. So thank you to them. The product they're promoting this week, Green Urea NV, suitable for tricky conditions. Well, we've certainly got that around Australia at the moment. So let me try and break down the rainfall map for you here. The main area of heavy rain, this zone over to the east. Now, from Port Macquarie to Grafton is where we'll see the heaviest rainfall, where we're seeing on the key 200 millimetres of rain, possibly in that area for the week ahead. That's a lot of rain. We're seeing heavy falls around Brisbane as well, and also the Sunshine Coast, and potentially as far south as about Sydney. But further south of that, from Sydney to Melbourne and everyone in between, on that coastal side, we're not seeing very much in the way of rain at all. A similar story for much of Tassie. But inland parts of New South Wales and inland parts of Victoria, which have been remarkably dry over recent months, have got a chance of getting some downpours as we go through the week. We'll see those in the rainfall maps coming up soon. But some of these areas here coming into South Australia, further northwards, right up here, well north of Broken Hill, are seeing rainfall totals of 20, maybe 25, 30 millimetres. Depends on if you get a thunderstorm or a downpour, one of those bigger downpours, but that is certainly possible around New South Wales, Victoria and South Australia. So that is some good news, and a similar story around dry parts of Western Australia as well. Green Urea NV, just Google that with IPF and you should be able to find it. Proudly Australian owned. Don't let my Kiwi accent fool you. Let's get into the forecast. Here we are on Tuesday. So high pressure, missing the H here, just south of Albany in Western Australia, but there is the next big high coming out of the Indian Ocean and moving on through. With the high moving in and the other one departing out here over the Tasman Sea, a pretty big easterly flow blowing across Australia. It'll be a little windy, a little bit annoying kind of thing. Great for drying laundry, there's a positive. But you've got not much else really positive about the windy conditions coming through. It's not stormy, it's just noticeable that it's a bit windy through the interior, through the outback and out to the west here across the deserts. But the heavy rain, look at this, it sort of looks like a bullet shape with this rain coming in off the Tasman Sea, off from Lord Howe Island. And that does produce some decent rain here in just a 24-hour rain period. This is between mostly around Port Macquarie really, but up to about Grafton, seeing up to 200 millimetres falling in just one day. So that's a lot of rain. Almost everybody else is dry. So that's quite an unusual rainfall map on Tuesday. Keep up to date with the Bureau of Meteorology. There may be some flash flood warnings with those sorts of rainfall totals. Now going into Wednesday, here we are again. It's why it's important to break down these day by day, because the 7-day rainfall map, it does give you an idea, but it goes off the key. And so when you start seeing 200 millimetres again the next day, you start to see that this is quite a big rain event. But the rain is shifting northwards. It's not in the same spot. It's going further northwards, further into the northern rivers. And look at this, on the border of Queensland, very low rainfall totals. So a chance of some rain maybe in the coastal zones up to Brisbane, but again, the rest of Australia looking dry with that windy easterly blowing through in many parts. When I say many parts, obviously not populated places. Perth, not very windy. Adelaide, not very windy. Melbourne, not very windy. Hobart, Canberra, Sydney, and really even Brisbane. So most of the main centres aren't that windy, neither is Darwin. But the less populated areas, yeah, it's windy. Through a lot of rural areas in the desert and the outback, that easterly wind is blowing through. Bit of a southwesterly down here though, around coastal areas from Adelaide to Melbourne. Few showers coming through and a slight temperature drop as that high comes on through. And the high does move through quickly. By Thursday, the winds are light as the high pressure system comes into Bass Strait. Few showers on the west coast of Tasmania, otherwise dry. Maybe a shower in Melbourne, otherwise dry. Sydney is looking like a few showers coming through as those southeasterly winds come on in. And the main area of rain goes further and further northwards. Why is it doing that? Because the high pressure system here is pushing it northwards with higher air pressure coming in. So the rain moves further up into the northern rivers now, and right on the border here, I forgot the names of the ranges, sorry, but right on the hills between New South Wales and Queensland, on the coastal side here towards Brisbane and the Gold Coast, we are seeing some bigger rainfall totals on the New South Wales side, between 100, 150 millimetres and maybe even higher. So again, keep up to date with the Bureau of Meteorology this week for those official warnings. Windy easterlies also coming in through anywhere from Brisbane up to Toowoomba, going inland and blowing right across. Those winds ease back. Let's go to the end of the week because that's where we see a change in the forecast for those of you in the south. So it starts a little bit here on Friday in the southwest. So from Perth northwards a little bit and also down into the southwest corner, some rain coming through, some rain and showers, maybe a few thunderstorms as that southerly wind comes in and reacts with the hotter air over land. Really big high pressure zone coming out of the southern Indian Ocean, but still got a long way to go. And before it moves in, there's a sort of weakness here around Western Australia as far as air pressure is concerned, because the next big high is out over the Tasman, moving in towards New Zealand. So southerly winds come through. We've got 5, 10, 15 to 20 millimetres coming in for some parts of Western Australia. Elsewhere, mostly dry, but we do see a bit of convergence here through northern parts of South Australia, also north of Alice Springs. Could be a couple of thunderstorms or at least just a downpour. Not going to produce a lot of rain, but you might get 5 to 10 millimetres if you're lucky. Further to the east, we've still got some rain moving northwards up the Queensland coastline, further up the Sunshine Coast. Rainfall totals anywhere between 20, 50 millimetres, but hit and miss. Again, mostly dry north of that and dry to the south with northerly winds created by that departed high pressure zone around South Australia, New South Wales, the ACT, Victoria and Tasmania. So let's go into the weekend because that's where the change happens. Look at this, New South Wales, a whole bunch of downpours coming through here. Fingers crossed you get the rain you need for those of you that need it. Not everyone needs rain, but for those who do, you could be seeing 15 or 20 millimetres in some of these downpours, which are likely to shift around a little bit as we go through the weekend. Maybe 20 or 30 millimetres more coming through from Brisbane northwards, north of the Sunshine Coast. Then it tapers off all the way up to Cairns. It's isolated showers, nothing really much in there, nothing much for the top end. But look at the southern part of Western Australia getting that big cold southerly coming through. The next big high kind of stalled out over the southern Indian Ocean, low pressure deepening over the Great Australian Bight, and that creates a southerly wind. And so showers coming through here, some of them could be heavy and squally, and certainly the temperatures are down as a result of that southerly wind coming in from Perth all the way over to Esperance. And the rainfall totals in there could be up to 40 millimetres for some of you. And again, Kalgoorlie northwards, the rain disappears. On the eastern side, we've got those downpours, not so much in Victoria, but a chance of them, and a couple of them around the eastern side of South Australia. But it's not over yet. We get into Sunday and this low deepens. Be really good to see it move further northwards than it is, but at this stage, that is the placement. So most of the wet weather is along the southern coastline of Western Australia, not so much for South Australia, but there is a little bit here coming in to the north. Rainfall totals really anywhere between 1 millimetre and 10 across South Australia, Victoria, Tasmania. And Tasmania, in the northwest, you've got a better chance of some showers, but not so much in the eastern side, across the plains and coming down towards Hobart. So a few showers carry on for New South Wales and Queensland on Sunday, but again, not huge amounts there, but hit and miss. Might get a thunderstorm. Good to see this low coming through. We'll update you again in a couple of days from now as we get through to Thursday. That's our next update for you. And we'll take a closer look at the rainfall chances coming in this weekend in the southeast and the south. Good luck for those who need the rain. I know some of you desperately want it. But again, I've got to say, there are some areas that aren't going to get it this week. Still not seeing that massive big rain event to really end those areas that are in drought. But still, a silver lining. And that's what we end on, a positive note, a silver lining. That is all from me for today. Back again on Thursday. Have a great week ahead.